Hello? I'm gonna make this slow. Help me! Run!
Step into the darkness with 10 scary hidden horror gems on Tubi you shouldn't miss. From pulse-pounding shocks to twisted tales of terror, these underrated nightmares will creep into your mind and linger long after the credits roll. Number 10. Match. Paula is a woman exhausted from the modern hunt for connection, her hope pinned on a dating app that promises instant chemistry and digital approval. When she finally matches with Henry, a charming online suitor whose profile seems too good to be true, she decides it's time to meet in person, stepping into what she believes will be a transformative evening. But as her first date unfolds behind the closed doors of Henry's isolated home, social niceties peel away to reveal something disturbingly off-kilter lurking beneath the surface of this perfect match. Director Danishka Esterhazy crafts a taut psychological terror out of everyday exchanges, twisting the familiar into something unnervingly strange and intimate fears into extreme peril. Number 9. Scare Me.
Blood, you know?
Fred, a struggling writer hoping a secluded cabin will finally unlock his creativity, finds himself trapped by a raging storm and a power outage in the Catskills. His isolation is broken when Fanny, an acclaimed horror novelist with a razor-sharp wit, appears next door and challenges him to a contest of chilling storytelling. As the night deepens and candlelight flickers across splintered walls, their tales spiral from clever to unsettling, blurring the line between performance and the unsettling shadows that seem to listen. Director Josh Rubin turns a simple premise into a tense psychological exchange, where ego, fear, and the pure art of narrative war play out like a duel in the dark. Number 8. Blackwater.
What happened?
It's a fucking frog.
Get out! Get out of the water!
On what should be a sunlit holiday deep in the mangroves of northern Australia, Grace, her husband Adam, and her sister Lee join a local boat tour that promises a serene ride through winding rivers and lush floodplains. But the tranquility shatters when a massive saltwater crocodile erupts from the dark water, capsizing their boat and leaving them alone. Stranded in the remote swamp with nothing but towering trees and near-silent water around them. Directors David Nerlich and Andrew Trocchi turn this true inspired tale into a raw, stripped-down battle for survival, where the vast, oppressive setting feels as perilous as the unseen predator circling below. Number 7. Caveat.
Are you gonna tell anyone what I asked you to do?
She was mad.
Isaac, a drifter with partial memory loss, accepts what seems like a straightforward caretaker job on a remote island, watching over a troubled woman in a decrepit, isolated house for a large sum of money. But this isn't ordinary help. The reclusive resident and the eerie surroundings blur the line between psychological instability and something far older, as the creaking walls and dim corridors seem to whisper secrets of their own. With his memories hazy and every shadow watching, Isaac must confront unsettling forces that feel both internal and external as reality fractures around him. Directed by Damien McCarthy in his chilling feature debut, Caveat turns a lonely assignment into a labyrinth of tension and creeping unease, where every room hides a question and every silence feels dangerously alive. Number 6. Project Wolf Hunting.
인간 진화의 새로운 형태를 제시할 것으로 보인다.
A freighter drifts through the open sea, its cargo far more dangerous than it seems, dozens of the most violent criminals being transported under high security from Manila to Busan. But locked doors and armed guards are no match for what's about to be unleashed. As tensions boil over in the steel corridors of the ship, something horrifying stirs below deck, something not entirely human. What begins as a violent prison uprising erupts into a full-blown slaughter soaked in blood and panic. Directed by Kim Hong-seon, Project Wolf Hunting is a brutal fusion of action and horror where the ocean isn't the only thing that's deep and unforgiving. With nowhere to run and the body count rising, The voyage transforms into a floating nightmare fueled by carnage, secrets, and something monstrous built to survive. Number 5. Rampage.
Let's just clean the world. So maybe the rest of us can sustain a little bit of life.
Bill drifts through his dead-end town with cold eyes and clenched fists, buried beneath years of resentment, disillusionment, and silence. Beneath his quiet exterior, something brutal is taking shape. Metal, armor, intent. When he vanishes into his garage and emerges encased in steel, the world becomes a target in his warped quest for control. What follows isn't chaos, it's calculated. Uwe Boll directs Rampage with unnerving stillness, capturing the sterile edge of a mind slipping into pure violence. The streets, once familiar, become hunting grounds, echoing with the sound of something methodical and monstrous. Conversations twist into motives, idle days into final hours. And as Bill moves forward, unflinching and unseen, the film dares us to stare into the hollow eyes of the man no one noticed until it was far too late. Number 4. Lowlifes.
I'm gonna make this slow.
Help me! Run!
A seemingly ordinary family sets off across the country in an old RV, packed with restless teenagers, weary parents, and a sense of escape from their everyday tensions. But when a chance roadside encounter with a pair of rough-edged locals leads them off the beaten path to a remote homestead, what should be a simple night's rest rapidly corrodes into something far stranger and far darker. Under the creaking beams and dim lights of that lonely farmstead, the lines between guest and host, predator and prey, begin to twist and contort in unsettling ways. The directors craft Lowlifes into a raw backwoods odyssey where every glance holds suspicion, and every quiet moment feels weighted with unspoken menace. Number 3. Dave made a maze.
Instead of trying to defeat the maze, we've got to complete the maze.
We're not just doing that because it rhymes.
Well, then how about instead of...
Dave, a struggling indie artist, decides that a weekend project will finally spark his creativity and builds what looks like a humble cardboard fort in his living room. But this makeshift structure is anything but ordinary. Once he steps inside, he discovers a sprawling labyrinth far larger than its humble surface suggests, full of perilous turns, bizarre traps, and strange wonders that defy logic. As Dave's girlfriend Annie returns home to find him missing, she and a band of friends are pulled into this ever-expanding maze where imagination and danger intersect at every cardboard corridor. The film turns a whimsical craft into an unpredictable fantasy horror adventure with surreal energy, blending offbeat humor and otherworldly design into a curious journey where the maps are never what they seem. Number 2. The Awakening.
Hello?
In the aftermath of the First World War, England is steeped in loss and superstition, and Florence Cathcart has made a name for herself exposing spiritual hoaxes and debunking ghost stories with clinical precision. When a respected teacher invites her to a remote boys' boarding school to investigate claims of a spectral child seen by its pupils, she sees another opportunity to apply reason to fear. But the sprawling halls, echoing corridors, and tales from grieving families pull her deeper into an unsettling mystery that challenges her sharp skepticism. Directed by Nick Murphy, The Awakening is a brooding supernatural horror thriller that drapes its period setting in fog, shadowed rooms, and whispered rumors of things unseen. Number 1. Borgman. In a manicured suburban enclave, a mysterious vagrant named Camille Borgman arrives almost out of nowhere, knocking on doors and asking for a simple bath and a meal. But he brings far more than pleasantries. The affluent Richard and Marina, polished and complacent in their orderly lives, reluctantly take him in, unaware that this odd outsider will seep into the seams of their existence with uncanny ease and inscrutable intent. Borgman is a hypnotic and surreal descent into psychological invasion, where the horror creeps in with civility and silence. The clean lines of modern living twist into something feral, and what begins with a knock at the door ends with the unnerving feeling that some guests arrive not from the world outside, but from somewhere deeper and darker. Here are 4 other movies you have to see. Ascension.
Huh?
teenage girl tries to hold her fractured family together after her mother's death, only to sense something unexplainable taking hold of their lives. Subtle shifts in behavior begin to unravel the foundation of her reality. Strange events creep in like whispers, blurring the line between grief and something far darker. What unfolds is a quiet descent into the unknown, driven by emotion and mystery. Brightwood. A couple jogging through a wooded trail finds themselves unable to escape, trapped in a looping path with no exit. The forest twists and folds around them, growing stranger the longer they search for a way out. Tension simmers as their relationship fractures under the pressure of repetition and fear. As the hours stretch on, the trail becomes something far more disturbing than they imagined. Lovely, dark, and deep.
Understand what's happening.
They keep us here.
A backcountry ranger begins her assignment in an isolated forest known for unexplained disappearances. The deeper she ventures into the wilderness, the more the landscape bends around her in surreal and ominous ways. Lingering trauma and ghost-like signs test her grip on reality. The silence of the woods is deafening, and something unseen watches from just beyond the trees. Extraterrestrial.
We are gonna die in here.
You shot one of them. How they were.
A group of friends retreat to a remote cabin for a weekend, unaware that something inhuman is already watching. Lights in the sky and strange disturbances break the stillness of the night. Fear sets in as they realize they are not alone, and escape is no longer an option. What begins as confusion spirals into a night of terror from above.